ready to laugh because I have a lot of interviews and not too many of them are funny. Sometimes I try to make them a little lighthearted, but I have an author who is just plain right funny, but she writes that way. And the latest, of course, this is Lea Hope Becker. You have seen her here, thank goodness, with Boomer Times for many years. She writes a lot of books, but this one was really, really good. It was Think Yourself Young, Laugh Yourself to Life. And that's so funny. This is the review. And it was in our issue of the April issue. Let me just show you the cover. The April issue.
Hello.
What?
Raise it up so I can see it.
Okay, let me raise it up.
Raise it up, yeah. Oh, that's all right.
Raise it up.
Okay, yeah, all right.
That's it. We had some
It's right there in the corner.
Yeah, right there down here. Book of the month. Right.
Yeah, you got to go zooming.
What?
Just my expression. We're going zooming.
Oh yeah, we're zooming. That's true. Okay, and of course, when you get on this, you will be able to see the book review, which is very important. There it is. Okay, but I'm going to show you the actual book because the book is funny. The book cover is funny. All her covers are funny. Thank goodness for her husband, who is the illustrator, and he does a good job. But let's talk about Think Yourself Young, Laugh Yourself to Life. And now the difference in this book compared to all her others is she is really a poet. And none of us really realize that. So she took all the same funny stories and put it into poetry, which I thought was amazing. I don't think that's easy to do. First, you have to be a writer, then you have to figure out how to be a poet. So tell us about that, Leah.
Oh, well, I'm more of a rhyming poet than I am a sort of a what they call a blank verse or whatever they call it. Right. I've always been into rhymes. As a kid, I thought it was fun. I don't remember. I think I was influenced by a book I was given when I was very young called A Child's Garden of Verses by Robert Louis Stevenson. And that is a book that is still, I think it's still in print. And it's got a lot of poems that people have heard. And I read them so much, I memorized them all. So I think that kind of thing sticks with you. And I was also impressed by the fact that Robert Louis Stevenson, who later was famous for Kidnapped, Treasure Island, was a child, an invalid as a child.
Oh, didn't know that.
And he had a poem that I never forgot. When I was ill and lay abed, I had 2 pillows by my head. And all the while before me lay, I had my toys with which to play. And there was something about a counterpane. And I don't remember. It had something to do with the way he was. And I think I was very moved by that poem. And then I had an aunt who kind of taught me Shakespeare, little things like that. Right. So early influences, influence. And they stay with you. At least they stayed with me.
Yes, that's true. But you had the talent then to rhyme. Just because you appreciate someone doesn't mean that you could do it.
Some people are good at music. People are good at art. And sometimes you don't even know what you're good at till you get to be later.
Did you ever have a book that taught you poetry? How to do that?
Not
besides the book you just talked about.
Not till after I started writing poems. Then I decided I do everything backwards. First write, and then learn how you really should have done it. I've always done it though. Everything I do is backwards. First, like how I became an attorney. I became a legal secretary, and then I became a paralegal. And I had, he was actually a politician, and he needed extra help, and I was available to help do corporation documents, things like that. And I was the paralegal that could put together a whole series of documents. And one day this politician said to me, you know what you need me for, Leah? I said, what is that? He said, to sign your letters.
Wow.
So it was, how did I get on this subject anyway? All right, help me out here. I could lose my train of thought with two whistles. Go.
No, but that's okay. But I'll tell you what I wanted you to do. Do you have the book in front of you?
No, I have it in back of me. Is that?
Oh, good. Yeah, because I want you to go to page 32. I thought you would read. I think as an author, I would like to have you read one of your poems. And that way,
I'm trusting you. I don't even know what's on page 32.
I know. Okay, 32 is on toenails. And I talked about toenails because, we've had COVID, I really haven't been bothering anything with myself. And I looked at my toenails and I decided I would paint them red because I have some open-toed shoes I thought I would start wearing. So I looked at it. It is so funny, especially now that I guess I have aging fingers. Things didn't go so well. So if you don't mind, do you like this one? Would you read that?
Sure.
Read it to
Toenails. I'm ready. Okay. I don't drink. I'm just not a boozer. But some body parts will decline. My feet seem to be my big loser, with my toenails at the front of the line. I've painted those nails with red polish to cover the fact that they're weak. I'd like to wear low heels or flip-flops, but that possibility seems bleak. I've wrestled with aging foot fungus and tried different highly priced creams. I go to the foot doctor quarterly. As he works, I've suppressed many screams. But when he is through, his assistant comes in with her high-powered file. She does a great job while I fantasize that I'll soon wear new thongs that have style. Will I keep my toenails forever? I hesitantly ask the young trimmer. She lowers her eyes and says, maybe. Is retaining those nails getting dimmer? The answer, I fear, is not easy. My toenails might not last as long as stuff that I store in my closet. Should I write a toenail swan song?
See, it's just really brilliant. I mean, because you cover something that I know I have just found to be a little bit of a problem. And I haven't gone anywhere. I used to have my toenails done, and I don't now. But it was so perfect, and yet to think that it rhymes. I can't do that. I can write, but I can't rhyme.
Well, people have told me that, and I guess I just learned how to rhyme.
Right.
Rhyming, it used to be, rhyming poetry took a dive in recent years. I remember I was looking for a place to publish something in the poets market. There's a book, writer's market.
Right.
So there's a book called Poets Market, and I'm going through the potential publishers, and one or two of them says, please, no rhyming poetry. Please. They don't want rhyming poetry. And I thought to myself, boy, that guy never liked the music from Kismet, because there's a wonderful song and there rhymes it. But it comes and goes. And
Right.
Also it's very important how you phrase the rhymes. I mean, there's different meters you can use. And I think the funniest rhyming poet I have ever read is Ogden Nash. And I bought one of the books that you could still get. He wrote a book called The Golden Trashery of Ogden Nashery, but I couldn't get it. But so I got this one called The Best of Ogden Nash. And I mean, there's ways to rhyme endings of verses, and he did it with different meters, like some lines would be longer than others, but at the end there was this dangling couple of words that rhymed, and then he would find other words that rhymed.
Yeah.
And very funny.
Well,
So-
I want everyone to, I'm just going to read off some of the books that Lea Hope Becker wrote. The first one we reviewed probably all of them, but here's I Promise to Keep Quiet, and then parentheses, after I'm dead, maybe. Another one, I Promise to Stay Married, parentheses, this time. The next one was Children, I'm Home. And then there was my name's not Robbie anymore. And that wasn't as so funny, but it was beautifully done. And then the last one was the husband who kept his wife fat. So this one called Think Yourself Young is different. It's the only one that she rhymed. But on the other hand, every topic, and I'll just tell you something, she has this kind of cordoned off as interesting chapters. I'll say it that way. So the one is antidote to aging, health and beauty, the pain of adapting to change, and that's really funny. And so each one has a title that goes along with the poems that she wrote. So my question to you is, you categorize them. How and why did you do that?
I had help with the publisher because I had such an assortment of them. I have a red folder that used to be this big, and now it's this big. And I had stuff in there. I do a lot of printing. That's why my office is a fire hazard. I print everything, and I had all these different kinds of poems in there. I had some of them where at the end of the year you send greetings to your friends. I had a whole bunch, and I decided to pick out what I thought were the best ones. Maybe I wasn't the best judge, but I'm the one who's going to do it. So I start picking out all the ones, and then I did categorize them myself. I had like paper clips, this group and this group and this group. That was the beginning of it. And then when I decided I could publish a book of the ones that were, I thought, appealing. And I got older while I was going through this project. So I thought, well, I may as well swim with the tide. So I had these categories, but they were uneven. I had like a lot of them in one category and a few in another. But I got a hold of the publisher, and she helped me. She said, don't have a category with just a few. So she evened me out. But near the end of the publishing, the COVID came. And she said, do you think you could write a couple of poems about, being, locked down? And that was her idea. And I had a couple I had written that I didn't know if they would work, but I fixed them up. And she said, but you only got 3. I want 5 or 6. So if you go to, it's near the end. Mm-hmm. Let's see, it's on page, let's see, I'm getting here.
Okay, it's not the wedding photo.
Oh, yeah, page 127. Well, that's the drawing.
Okay, quarantining isn't normal, fretting is,
fretting
right?
Is.
Okay.
And the 2 new
Why
poems.
don't you read one of these also? I love when you read it. Which one would you like to read from there?
Let's see. Well, this is one that Carol White, who does our Boca Raton branch newsletter, liked a lot. And I had written this before she said, put in stuff about the virus.
So what's the title?
What Will I Accomplish? It's on page 133.
Okay, I got it.
What will I accomplish? This day that's so fair. The sky is bright blue with the virus out there. I could write a sonnet about how I feel with good wishes on it, but bad vibes are real. I'm on this great planet, but so is this virus. My friends are all wailing. Nobody will hire us. So who do we blame? Put the perps in one lump? Or governments all? On whom shall we dump? We're just being tested by the powers that be. Please, unseen marauder, just let me be me.
Right. I mean, but so you take an idea and you think about it.
Yeah.
And instead of just writing out this as an article or a little bit of a, editorial, you then figure out how you can make them rhyme once you get it going. That's really quite a skill. I know you're in a lot of writers groups. Are there other people like you in these writers groups, or are you unique?
Well, in the one, which by the way is going on right now, but I wasn't prepared for today. I wasn't prepared. I just got rid of the last day of tax season, so I wasn't prepared for a lot of things other than taking care of frantic tax bills. So I would say there are not a lot of people that do what I do. They've told me this. I never did a survey. One of the girls said, I can't do that. I can write wonderful stories, imagination, but I can't do it the way you do it. And I thought to myself, okay, so I'm going to go with this.
Yeah.
And always you talk about ideas. Well, I have ideas, and I'll write prose. I'll write what I think is a little essay or an article. And then I would read it in front of the writers and I would look at their faces. Even when we were doing Zoom meetings, you can still see the faces. And I'd look at them. And if they weren't smiling or laughing, I knew that something wasn't working. And if they would say something like, better keep your day job, then you're on the wrong track. But you know what? That's the way it is. And I found out through talking to musicians and artists, anyone who likes to be in the creative field, we all struggle. It's not easy.
No.
It's just the way it is.
But so do you actually have classes that you teach now? Do you teach older adults or anything about writing, even if it
no,
were
but if somebody wants to hire me to do it, I'll do it. I'm ready. Tax season's over. I'm available.
You like to do that too, don't you?
Yeah,
you like to teach people.
What I would also like to do is I like to be, you helped me learn that it's fun to be interviewed. And I'd like to, this is an idea I have, I'd like to make a certain skit on it, of being interviewed, and I could make it entertaining. This is just a budding idea now. I have a few people. I'm going to make some calls and see where it goes. And my daughter encourages me. So I mean,
yes, you could be. Maybe we'll get you on Saturday Night Live, right?
Well, you could get me a Saturday Night Live or a Sunday Night Half Dead. I don't care. I'll start small. I'm not asking for a lot of money. No handouts, please. I need to start because it bothers me to think that I just shut myself off, from whatever the source is. I don't like to do that.
Okay, so I have another question about this. Are you out making speeches? Do you have? Because in your review, I'm just looking at that. I don't think that I say that if you would like to have Leah Hope Becker come and be a speaker, this is where you have to call her. Would you do that?
I actually hinted that I did want to be a speaker, and I had a couple people giving me tips on how to get started. Something always got in the way. For example, I never wanted to give up my law license, and I never wanted to give up that juicy little flow of income for doing tax returns. Mm-hmm. And the way I would manage to cut off that part of me was that I told all my clients, you come to me, I'll take care of you, I'll make it fun. I know that took a lot.
Okay,
But
well,
I just have procrastinated it, and now I think it's time for me to make my debut.
okay, so this is an idea. Now, I'm involved in different organizations. One is called the Tri-City, and these people are always dealing with seniors. And I think what I'm going to do is send you the link. When I get the meeting notice, I'm going to send it to you, and you get on there. I think there's a small amount for the year, but you ought to get on there because sometimes they have 20, 30, 40 people who are at these meetings on Zoom. And we used to do it in person, but they are on Zoom. And I think you'd introduce yourself and you could tell them, because some of these people do represent senior communities. They represent a lot of things.
I think I would prefer the senior communities.
Well, but they have a lot of people there, and then you would just say for senior communities, I would be very interested.
Yes, I would. And I've already got some ideas in my head how I would structure it.
Okay.
So I'm actually started thinking about it today, because it's the day after the final day when everybody, people standing in line in the post office.
Is that what they're doing? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, the day after that.
So I'll just repeat this. This is, and you've just heard her read her poetry. This is Lea Hope Becker. This is the cover of her book. And as you watch this, if you happen to be one of those people and you would like a great speaker, no matter what your group is, you would be enchanted by her. She's funny, she's smart, she's very down to earth, and she's just like all of us. I mean, she's a person you'll want to meet. So if you want to buy her book, though, you can actually go to Amazon.com. It was published by Citrine Publishing, but you can go to Amazon and buy this, correct?
Okay, they're available at all the publishers. Barnes and Noble has online, and you can go into a bookstore if they don't have it on the shelf. But getting a book on the shelf at Barnes and Noble takes a few long haulers to do it. However, they will order the book. They will order the book. And I do not sell them directly from my website because I got enough gray that I'm trying to cover up stuff that comes out of a bottle. I don't need more. But
okay, so what's your website address? What is your website address?
Well, I'll I have to look at my website. It's LeahHopeBecker.com.
Oh, okay, LeahHopeBecker.com, because I don't see it.
The way I spell my name.com. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but then there's a link at the end so that they can go to Amazon. I had it set up with Amazon because they're the major bookseller.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you don't have to use the link. I mean, most people know how to get on Amazon.
Of course. Oh, they all do. Yes. People, thank goodness. Well, Amazon, thank goodness for Amazon in many ways, because even though they did put out of business a lot of the small bookstores and all, at least if you want the book, you want to see it, get on Amazon and you can look at the book. You'll have some comments. You'll see what the cost is, but we're very fortunate. See, I love to have authors on this and I used to do this on radio. There's nothing like having an author speak about their own book. Sometimes a book takes 2 to 3 years. Leah produces them much quicker. It's in her head. She's always has something on the tip of her tongue to be able to write about. But this way you get to see her. You can laugh, and when you read the book, you'll remember you saw her, and it's different.
Thanks.
Well, that's how it is when you read a book. Like you would have loved to have seen Stevenson. I mean, you would have loved to see some of the people you read their books, and we would have loved it. I would have loved to see Shakespeare.
Yeah, Mark Twain.
Yeah, right. To have him speak and see it, it does add some different thing. I mean, we do hear people like Patterson, some of the famous authors, they do speak, and And it's kind of interesting because they put a different twist to it when they're talking.
That's right.
You know, and the other thing we haven't said enough about, but I do compliment your husband. All of these illustrations are by Leah's husband. And it's pretty nice to have that happen. I don't, you know, everyone should have a husband like that. He's, at first it was a little bit tricky, but even now, he may not even read the book, but he just wants to know a little bit about it. And he comes up with these great illustrations. And he's a photographer too, isn't he?
Yeah, right now planning a trip where we just think we're discovering a new national park in West Virginia, and he's not right now, but I think in the next few days he's going to start plotting out. You know, we're all opening up.
Yeah,
and it's the great escape. We're gonna get back in the car with our gear and have a ball.
what does he do with the photographs?
Oh, he works on them with Photoshop and a lot of different applications he's used over the years. And then he picks out, you know, he might take 300 or 400 pictures at a time and then pick out 2 or 3 that he likes. And it's never about trying to sell them, even though he's been in a few shows. It's always about that he likes them. And then he prints them, got a big Epson printer, and then he frames them, but we've run out of wall space. So we have to archive like museums do, you know, they run out of space to put all the famous paintings. So they have to put some in the basement. We don't have a basement. So he puts these in a big box. It's a secret box. And you know, there's a lot of great stuff in it. And every now and then he'll have 2 photographs that are so close to each other, nobody could tell them apart, but there's something different. And he'll take the one that he likes the best, and the other one's a reject, and it goes on a garbage pile. And on more than one occasion, I've snatched one of them away from the pile, and I have it in my room because to me, I thought it was great stuff. So
absolutely amazing. Yeah. And so, but he does do shows. That's what you were saying. So
he did shows, but he's not at the moment. Hardly anybody was doing shows for a year.
No, I know. But when they come on, does he go to art shows and take a booth?
He hasn't. He did one in Jupiter, and he did another one in Lake Worth Beach when it was Lake Worth. And they added the beach to the name. And but he wasn't, you know, out there pushing for it. He happened to be with different groups that were, he belongs to Camera Club, and they have they do a lot of events where they'll get their photographs into shows. But it's a hobby thing with most of them.
Well, before it was a hobby with him, what was he doing?
Oh, Wayne? Well, he was retired from being an animation artist.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't know if you ever told me that.
The way he described it, because we weren't married, you know, during a lot of the times that he made a living. And when we first reunited as a couple, he described himself as being semi-retired and described it as, well, I was thinking about it, but really it was the customers that retired him, because eventually computer drawing has come in. And if you look at almost all animation today, it's just about 100%. It's 100% computer driven, but they didn't do it that day. He's really from the old Disney way of doing things.
I see. Have we run out of time, Dan?
Just about.
Okay, I know you're appearing there. Well, this has been interesting. Isn't it nice to talk to someone, an author, especially Leah, and find out all the workings of how things go. I mean,
Yes,
it's great, isn't it?
and I love to hear the author read their own work. That's
Yes.
wonderful. I
Yeah,
just
it's
love
different.
it. I love it.
I agree.
Thanks.
Leah, you know, it's wonderful to have you on. I've become such close friends with you, and yet we don't really do things together other than your books. But I know you so well, and I guess we've never really taken the time to have lunch or just sit and just schmooze around and talk. But maybe even this next year we'll do that.
Lunch is coming. Lunch is coming.
Well, it's wonderful. Thank you very much. And you do look great. I like the way you fixed your own hair today. And I hope your son feels better and his arm heals.
Thanks.
And I think that we will, you know, Dan, when you do you do this and put it out there, you might want to just put a note that she's available for speeches.
Oh, sure.
That could be good. Don't
make the word speeches, make it performances.
Okay.
Oh, performances. Okay.
Yeah,
Good deal.
That's great for performances. Okay, let's do it. So thank you very much, Leah. It's always such a pleasure, and I'm glad that things are going well for you and that you finish and now you can relax a little bit and work on your next book. I know you have
Nita,
something in your
thank
mind.
you for the boost. I always think you need to thank you for your boost.
Oh,
yeah. You're such a pleasure. Okay. Goodbye, Leah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.